Welcome back. On this Monday, we are talking about a new term that many are using to describe how they're feeling these days. People are saying languishing.
I like that term. I think that really says something.
Fitting, right?
It's fitting, yeah. The New York Times wrote about this, and it became their most shared story of the week. So it's described as feeling kind of the blahs, but not depressed, not burned out. Rather, people say they feel somewhat joyless or kind of aimless as the pandemic just sort of wears on and on.
Yeah, and maybe it describes how you're feeling too. So we are calling in our next guest to help us get out of our slump with a little Monday motivation with Arthur Moats, a former Pittsburgh Steeler, now author and motivational speaker, and you always motivate us.
Well, I always try to do that, right? But I will say this, the feeling is reciprocated. I get to hear y'all stories. Obviously, get to see y'all eating beautiful pretzels. I mean, all those things just make my day bright. I'm like, man, I wasn't even feeling the best, but them pretzels and the way y'all talked about them has me smiling. I want to get a pretzel today.
Yeah, you definitely should. You know, but a lot of people are using this term now, and it isn't depressed. It's not. It's just kind of stuck. You're just kind of feeling.
Yeah, you're not fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you hearing that from people?
Absolutely. We would always say it's that feeling of just feeling blah or just, you know, I'm not, it's not great. It's not terrible. It's just, I'm surviving. I'm maintaining the status quo. But the thing that I tell people is you have to be more intentional when you're going through that phase. I went through it as well. My wife went through it. I mean, it's one of those things that's natural. But when I say being intentional, what I mean is this. Set different things up in your life on a day-to-day basis that are going to help you accomplish them. So for me, it was as simple as I want to make sure I get a workout in today. I know for me, when I work out, it makes me feel better. The endorphins that are released, everything that's associated with it. So if I can get that done on my day, well, that's a big milestone for me. And that's going to give me a feeling of I've completed a task. I've done something that was meaningful, that had a purpose. And it doesn't just have to be that for the mothers out there, right? You might be saying, well, hey, I want to make sure I get to work on time and I get the chance to go to Starbucks before I go in. And you set that goal and you accomplish it. And you know, as soon as you leave in that drive-thru, what are you going to say? Man, I did that. My day feels like it's set off right. And honestly, it's little things like that, but that is going to help you get through that feeling, because if you don't set these little goals, you become focused on too much of a broad perspective instead of the singularly focused standpoint that we always talk about with sports, where, hey, I don't have time to worry about next week. I don't have time to worry about next month. Let me get through today. Let me get through this first morning element of it. And when you're able to do that consistently, it will just keep you in a better place of mind and just ultimately have you feeling better physically as well.
No, I love that. It makes perfect sense because you gain from the sense of accomplishment. But let's talk about the voice in our head, like the voice that tells us, because so often I think I wouldn't be friends with the voice in my head because it's so critical sometimes. And I really think, what are ways to get past that and be more positive and keep ourselves in a positive mode?
Yeah, positive affirmation is key. I'm a big self-talker, right? In terms of, I tell myself every morning I want to wake up, man, I woke up this morning, I won the day. Because how many people don't get that opportunity? How many people, they went to sleep last night and they thought about this task that they were going to do today. They thought about the adversity that was waiting for them around the corner, but they never just lived in that moment, and now it's passed them by. So I always just, from the start of my day, man, you won already. And then from there, constantly positive affirmation, constantly just hyping myself up. When we talk about that voice inside your head, think about how often we talk to ourselves. If that voice is constantly saying negative things, it's going to set you on a trajectory that's going to have you, struggling throughout the day. And ultimately, it's going to continue to grow and become more just weighing on you. So I always just try to think of different positive things I can say. Man, if I felt like I had a nice outfit on, boy, you look good today. God. All right. If you're a guy and you finally washed that car, it doesn't matter if it's a 95 Honda Civic or a new Bentley. It's just, hey, man, my car looks good, man. I'm riding this thing. Whoo, baby. and as simple as it is, just think about if you're constantly reinforcing yourself, if you're constantly telling yourself, hey, I can do this. Hey, I am good enough. You're going to start to believe it versus if you're waiting on someone else to give you that positive affirmation. if you have to wait on that, man, we know how life gets. We know how everybody has their own things that they're going through. And sometimes people just don't notice what you're going through. And that could be in your house. That could be with your significant other. But you have to make sure that you're putting forth the effort and being intentional about yourself and saying to myself every day, yo, you got this. Yo, you are a believer. Yo, you can do this. You're a great mom. You're a great dad. You're great at whatever it is that you're doing. And ultimately, it's going to help you get through those rough moments.
You know, to put it in a different context, I know a lot of people are thinking about this maybe in terms of work, but I know at the end of the day, I get that mom guilt where I'm like, yelled at the kids too much today. What am I doing? I need to get my mind straight. I need to focus in the morning. But I think it's exactly what you said. It's taking those small moments like, okay, let's get through breakfast. Let's get through breakfast and make sure that we do this, this, and this so that they're on the right path for the day. I think being kind to yourself in those moments is so important.
Absolutely. And Heather, I'm glad you brought that up. Since the pandemic started, I had to take on a new role in terms of helping my son get dressed and ready for virtual school just because of the timing of everything. This is something that typically my wife would do. So at times I would get very frustrated. Man, all right, I got his teeth brushed, but we didn't have enough time to eat. Oh, he wanted 3 pancakes, I only made 2. Oh, he wanted this syrup and not that. And it's easy, man. You'll sit here and I'm just like, why am I so frustrated? Why do I feel so just like I let my son down because I messed up the pancake order? Yeah. But then you start to realize like, hey, okay, let's just get intentional about get him up out the bed. Let's make sure his socks match. Let's start with that first. All right, now we got that checked off. Okay, well, what's the next thing we can do? Let's make sure that he's on time at 9 o'clock, not at 9:03, 9:04. So I started setting up little things like that. And before you know it, the accumulation of these small victories turns into a big victory. And now something that you might have viewed as a daunting task, you look forward to it. You're running towards that challenge because you know, man, I've overcome this and I know the feeling I'm going to get from this when I overcome it again. And you obviously got the added bonus of, well, I'm also having quality time with somebody that's important to me, whether it's a child, whether it's a significant other, whether it's a coworker. So all of these things are going to multiply. And that's why it's important, though, that you start with that positive talk to yourself of, I got this. Yeah. That positive talk with, hey, I'm good enough to do this. I can be the good dad that gets his son ready and have fun at the same time. So those are the things that I always try to just reiterate to myself and my wife to just keep that positive feeling in the household.
Yeah. I totally get the pancake thing, though. You put the wrong kind of jelly on a piece of toast, and it is worst day ever, I'm told.
Listen.
So I get it.
I cut the pancakes in squares. I didn't know I was supposed to use the fork and do it in triangles.
What were you thinking?
Ultimate meltdown. I thought I was the worst father ever. Don't worry about the NFL. Don't worry about being an author. No, it was, Dad, you are the worst. You cut the pancakes the wrong way.
Right.
Yes.
Arthur, your positivity is infectious. We love it when you visit with us. Thank you for joining us.
Well, always a blast. I definitely appreciate y'all again.
Take care.
All right, no languishing when Arthur Moats is joining you. No, none of that. And we want to thank him, and he is a regular PTO contributor. Yeah. We love that.